when you moved on from this period, I think you came across another character who could be a character out of an American popular series called Fred Smith. And it is the luck of Bobby Womack at this time that here you meet a man who was gambling away the profits of a band he was already looking after, and who of all the managers and label managers and people who run labels did Bobby Womack choose but Fred Smith? And the amazing story that you got so cross, so angry, so frustrated, you burst into his office and fired blanks at him.
It's amazing you remember that. I ain't let nobody remember that. Yeah, I was trying to really scare him. You know, I was really trying to scare him. It worked.
It did work.
Yeah, I told him I wanted my contract. And so I shot a couple of times, and he got under his desk. He crawled under his desk, and he says, just let me get my hand out and let me open the safe. I'll give you a contract.
He understood that, though.
Oh, he understood that.
But possibly wouldn't have understood anything else.
But those were the days that I felt that was my only way of retaliating.
And then Wilson Pickett, of course, and
Pickett was another good guy. He came to me and asked me to, come with him on the road. But he really he wanted me to, he was trying to get me with Atlantic. He said, Bobby, I know, because me and Pickett used to sing gospel together. And he says, I know your talent, and I know what people are saying, and I know it ain't true. He said, you've never been a hustler. He said, a hustler, you don't even go to movies. He wasn't even allowed to go to movies as a kid. So at 19, what could you have done up to this point? So he took me and I sung for Jerry Waxler and Tom Dowd. And they told Pickett that you're crazy. You're cutting your own throat. This guy is trying to take your position, and you trying to help him. Oh, he can't do that. He can't. It's not even about that. He says, a friend of mine, man, the guy needs that now. He needs it for a lot of reasons. So he said, the best thing you can do with him is take his songs. If he starts recording, he said, in other words, we've already invested a lot of money in you, Pickett. Why are we going to be on another Pickett or whatever? He says another Sam Cooke, but really it's what he's doing. He don't know nothing but Sam, and he's trying to do Sam, and I don't think it's going to work right now, especially not with the people. That's what Jerry and them felt about it. So they said, but you can still, so I looked at it like that. I said, Pickett, I tell you what, I'll just give you the songs. I'll sing the songs, I'll cut the tracks, and I'll sing them. And then you just put your voice in.
Other Atlantic artists at that time recorded your stuff. Percy Sledge, I think, did one, didn't he?
Yeah, Percy Sledge. I probably would have done a lot more stuff for Percy Sledge, but they really wanted me to just work with Pickett, And me and Pickett were close. What ended the relationship is that Pickett happened to see a royalty statement that I got. He was wondering how I was making more money than he was. Which I would write the songs and I had 50% of the publishing.
It's funny how money ends relationships.
For him.
Yeah, it's funny though how money ends relationships.
Yeah.
What about your relationship with your first wife?
My relationship with my first wife is real good. We have a son that's 17 years old. Strange thing happened is once we had said we'd give 5 years. And one day we were arguing, and we had a big argument. She asked me, did I love her? I said, something came up, and I said, I never would have married you in the first place. I did this for Sam. And she went off. She said, so you married me for him. I thought you married me because you love me. But I said, I do love you to do it, but it's not the kind of love to fall in love. We didn't even have time. We married overnight. So we split, and when we split, we stayed away from each other for a long time. And she married probably 7 times after that. And none of the marriages worked. But she would always come back and we'd talk. And she always thought we would have gotten back together. But she was on her feet then. She had went through 5 years of going to court trying to claim what was hers and the kids, which he had left. And I knew that he, wanted them to have it, whether he left a will or not. I asked him about how come he didn't have a will. And he said, hey, man, that's like talking about death. Ain't no die. I don't want to talk about wills.
And you've had one more marriage since.
Yes.
And you still have the same marriage.
Yeah.
And an extremely supportive wife.
Yeah, she speaks up. And that's what's good about it. I mean, you know.
She whops you when you're bad.
Yeah, you know, women got a way of hitting you without punching you.
Bobby talking about his much-loved wife. Wilson Pickett, Trust Me, written by Bobby Womack.
Give me time, give me time, give me time. Got to keep on.
Moving on to the Liberty United Artists days, that's the longest you've ever stayed with a record label for. And, I mean, really, that's like another story, another book. And one of the interesting areas was, moving on to the mid-70s, was how you were determined to ignore the disco boom. And I also remember the wonderful story how, and I can imagine you saying it, you say, right, well, we now have the disco boom, I'm going to go and record country songs. Yeah. And off you went and recorded country songs. Now, did you do that deliberately to wind up your record label and to put your foot down and say, look, I am Bobby Womack, I now have a track record, and I now want to do something, I'm off to do it?
Yeah. Well, I always loved country. It's because when I was kind of as a kid, I used to hear my mom and they played country and they sung country. They love country and western music. That was the kind of music that is a wholesome, innocent music. It's clean. There's nothing dirty about it. You know, there's nothing destructive about it. And I love country and western music. So my dream was always to cut a country and western album. So once I had a lot of success with Liberty and United Artists, they kept telling me, I said, I want to cut this. They said, that's not you. Just keep cutting what happens to you. The last record was successful. Cut us another one like that. So I didn't think they were into me as growing as a person. So I said, look, on this next album, I'm cutting what I want to cut. I want to cut me a country western album. And they joked and they laughed and they joked and they laughed. So I went on and cut it anyway. And they didn't promote it. I remember coming into a meeting and then everybody was on the floor laughing at the fact that I was singing it like that. So I was just saying, boy, I can't be with this label. This label want me to cut a certain vein. I remember one time I tried to do it for them because I wrote a song called Woman Gotta Have It. Then I wrote it, and then they want me to do another song like that, so I did Stop On By, they were very close, sounding alike. And the relationship had ended because they were satisfied with being able to make maybe $350,000 a year, and all I had to do was give them $30,000 a year, cut an album for $30,000, and we know we got a profit for that. And I saw other artists coming in and going past and growing. And I felt that I was standing still.
Why did you record Woman Gotta Have It and Stop On By? That was to...
Well, the Woman Gotta Have It was a big record. And I came in and they told me they wanted me to do that again, stay in that vein. And I said, yeah, but if I stay there too long and the people get tired, it's too late to move. I said, you move and try other things, and that's what people... I mean, if you're an innovator, you don't watch and see what's happening and say, oh, that's what they're doing now, that's what I'll do. See, people do that, let the audience know they don't know who they are. And audiences don't respect that.
Right, you often talk about the Rolling Stones and All Over Now, but Rufus and Chaka Khan's version of Stop On By, did you like what they did to that?
Yeah.
Did you like the way they did that?
See, that's the way I would want it to go. They stretched it. And see, they wanted me to stay right in one vein. They were afraid to move. They feared I was going to lose what I had. And I say, that's the way I got it. It's by taking chances. Life is a chance. So you have to constantly, it's like growing, you grow up.
But the Rufus and Chaka Khan Stop On By, you approve of?
I tell you one, there's a song, and I'm not changing it, but there's a song that was recorded. I did a song called I Can Understand It, and that was a group. I never met the group, but they did I Can Understand It, a group called Kokomo. I liked the way they cut that song. They did a lot of justice, and I never heard any more from them.
We'll be hearing Rufus and Kokomo in just a mo, but ahead of that...
Fellas, I wonder what you're mad if I talk to you a minute.
Bobby Womack, Woman Gotta Have It.
You know, sometimes we have a...
And Kokomo get the Bobby Womack seal of approval for their version of I Can Understand It on What Happened to Kokomo.
Robbie Vincent on Sunday night.
Because towards the end of this relationship with Liberty United Artists, as they were known in this country, we start to get back to the bad times, the death of your brother, which was another major blow.
A major problem that I guess I had become very wacko to them. And I can imagine that because when people make commitments such as contracts, they expect you to live up to them. And sorry to say is that they don't see you really as people. They see you as a product. And they're not interested in your personal problems, but when can you record again? And you almost have to, you know, understand that and accept that if you're going to be in this business, that's what it's about. The bottom line to the execs and the record companies is the dollar.
You felt like furniture.
Yeah. Because, you know, what happened, my brother got killed, which was a shock to me. I had a tour coming up 2 weeks after his death, and I told him I'm not ready, stable mentally to do this tour. And they kept saying, you got to do the tour. Like I said, I can't do the tour. So I was forced, that was almost forced. It was coming up a time. They say, look, people are going to sue, you're going to do this, we did $700,000, something. You got to go out and make this tour. And I had to go out and sing that song. And when I wrote that song, it was like funny. Me and him, Harry used to laugh about it. It was about him. But then that story became a reality. Mary Hippie, Harry's lady, killed him. So now I got to go out and sing this every night, and people, you know, laugh, and it wasn't funny to me. You know, I didn't want to do the song.
But you and your brother had shared a laugh about it.
Yeah, it was a laugh. He used to walk around on stage with the bass because his way of life and my way of life was too different. I respected his and he respected mine. He used to always say, why do you want all those problems? The more you have, I don't want to wake up and know that I got to take care of 30, 40 people. He said, that's what you're doing. You're putting yourself into a corner. And I said, well, I didn't even think about it like that. I just cut records and go out and sing and just keep challenging. Otherwise, life gonna be a bore.
What on earth did you feel singing Harry Hippie?
I felt pain from his death. You know, I could see him visually when I was singing the song, and we wasn't there anymore. And I say, I'm making a joke of my brother to the audience, and he's dead.
What about your other brothers at this time? What were they doing?
They were still trying to put it back together. Well, after Harry's death, yeah, they were trying to put it back together. Nobody was really doing nothing. Cecil was very quiet. And I guess they was watching me trip. And I was tripping very heavy then. I didn't work.
This is the real low time.
This was the low time. I
after
tell you what happened. When they forced me to go out on tour, I went down to the studio and I told this engineer, I said, look, I'm gonna have a fall. I said, I'm not gonna really fall, but I want you to be going to the press tomorrow. I'm gonna fall. And I'm gonna get out this tour. He said, how you gonna do that? I said, I'm gonna tell him I'm blind. I'm blind. He said, like overnight? I mean, I was really serious. I said, yeah, you think that'll work? He said, Bobby, maybe you should just go ahead and do it. Anyway, make a long story short. Next day, it was headline news that Bobby Womack lost sight. No, I went to New York to do a gig, do one of the dates. And on stage, I had my brother lead me on stage. I had these bandages.
Which brother was this?
From me. He led me on stage in front of 5,000 people on stage. And I was stumbling, knocking over microphones. I was really overacting my part, had a cane and the whole bit. And so the people were like, I mean, the place got so quiet. He told me, so you sure you want to go through with this, man? This is crazy. So I said, yeah. So my manager was standing out at the airport at the time, Lieber and Krebs, waiting on me to come. Now, they hadn't even heard about this. So when he saw me with all these scars, all these patches all over my eyes and these shades on, he said, what happened to him? And he said, man, Bob lost his sight. You didn't know about that? So the guy tried everything to see if I was faking. He would strike a match and put it right in my face, and, you know, and I wouldn't blink. And what really bothered me, Stevie came to see me. It was news, top news in the States. Stevie came to see me. He said, hey, Bob. He said, man, it's not that bad being blind. He said, matter of fact, you're fortunate because you don't have to see all of it. He said, you can just feel it. You can pick up fast. And I wanted to tell him so bad, Stevie, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm trying to get out of a tour.
He's never held that against you, has he,
Never
Stevie?
mentioned it. He never mentioned it. And I never mentioned it. I saw him, well, we hung out the past 2 days. And I wanted to say, do you remember? But I know he do. Because he said and talked to me. So I tell you what, the company got so worried, they said, I don't think, they put me in the hospital.